Good morning, beautiful people, and Kamala Harris. Welcome to J-Tech Studios, baby. Right now, we're doing part two. That's part two of Kamala Harris's first interview on CNN with Dana Bash, and of course, Kamala Harris' sidekick, Tampon Timmy. So, without further ado, we bring to you part two of Kamala Harris' interview. Let's go.
Okay. Another issue, big one, is immigration.
Big one.
As Vice President, you were tasked with addressing the root causes of migration in southern countries and
northern part of Central America.
The northern part of Central America that deals with, that affects the southern border of the U.S. Mm-hmm. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers.
Hang on. Oops, my bad. Hang on. I got to back it up real quick because I want to hear if she just said immigration from Southern America, and if so, I'm going to pause it again.
And
northern part of Central America.
The northern part of
Okay. This is not immigration anymore from Central or South America. This is immigration.
Invasion.
This is, yes, it is an invasion. It's not an invasion from South America and Mid-America. This is an invasion from the world. This isn't people from, Mexico, fleeing Mexico. This is people coming from China. This is people coming from Pakistan. This is people coming from countries all over the world, plotting against the United States. We're letting them in unchecked. We can't verify a single thing about them. Most of these countries do not have record-keeping systems and databases like the United States has. We can't just call over there and be like, hey, I've got a, let's just say a John Doe, whatever the name is. Can you please check your records and let us know, is this dude a bad dude? Is this dude a good dude? Has he ever been to jail over there? They don't have these kind of record-keeping systems. A lot of countries do not.
And if they do, they're not going to really want to give it to you. We're like, oh, we don't want him back.
Yeah.
Let him go over through the U.S.
Yeah, no, that's a good dude right there. Y'all take him. Also,
take that dude.
Furthermore, or as John don't like the word also, so I'm going to say as well as a lot of these people are not carrying documentation that covers their true identity, meaning they have whatever kind of paperwork they've got, and if their name is, let's just use an average name, Kevin Smith, their real name is Timothy McLaughlin or whatever, they don't have their actual name on the paperwork they're bringing over. Why? Because they don't want us to know who they are. So, there are people coming over here. And also, the one last thing is the ones going straight to Border Patrol when they cross the border are more than likely probably the more decent people.
Those are the keepable ones.
The gotaways, the ones who run from Border Patrol, are the ones that probably mean us harm. And we have
they're the
no
ones
clue
out there in
about them.
Aurora right now in 2 different apartment complexes with AKs.
Oh, man, if y'all have not checked that out, look up Denver, look up Aurora, Colorado. Aurora is a suburb of Denver on the north or on the east side of Denver, east to northeast side of Denver. They are literally getting taken over by a Venezuelan gang. I forget the gang's name.
It's not worth mentioning.
No, there's videos of them going into apartment complexes. They're taking over the entire apartment complex. All the staff of the apartment complexes are fleeing for their life. The residents don't know what to do. That's where they live. A lot of these people have children that live in these apartments. They're bringing over AKs and handguns. They're banging down doors, demanding
Well, they
rent.
didn't bring them over. They went and robbed 5 gun stores in Denver to get this.
Did they? They went and robbed. Yeah, I'm sure they're getting it from wherever, however, man. And they're either,
don't know how you can get away with robbing a gun store, but
they're kicking.
Try that crap in Texas. See what happens.
They're kicking these people out of their apartments if they can't pay whatever payment it is. They're like paying for their protection or whatever. That's bullshit. Come on. The police is acting like they don't know what's going on. It's on video. It's several apartment complexes.
They also put a green light on the police. If the police go over there, they have a green light to shoot the police.
I mean, this is complete bullshit. This is the society we want to live in, where people can come across our border unchecked and they can wreak havoc on entire cities of people. There was a school bus, a couple of them now, in the San Diego area. The school bus, the ones that she likes, Kamala Harris likes. We all know she loves Venn diagrams and she loves school buses. Getting pretty much what happened, John? You know more about this than I do.
They tried to hijack 2 different school buses.
Hijack 2 fucking school buses.
Now
Are you kidding me, man?
The school bus drivers have been notified about it, and they have been instructed, if you see any immigrant-looking people, to not stop the bus to pick up children.
I mean, this is crazy. What are they going to do with these people's children after they hijack a school bus? Hold them for ransom? Turn them into the sex slave ring? Or what's going to happen to these kids? This is horrifying. If you are a parent or any sane person, regardless if you have kids or not, you should be horrified by what's happening in this country right now. It's absolute insanity.
Not to mention all the girls that were raped and killed by Venezuelans.
And not just Venezuelans. I don't want to just single them out. By all kinds of people. There's, just here in Texas where we live, just right down the road from us, there was a young girl. How old was she? 11?
12.
12 years old. Walking home.
Her name was Jocelyn.
Jocelyn. She was walking home from a store, probably just getting some chips or some candy or drink or something, going right back home. And she was lured by 2 illegal aliens into a creek-like area where she was molested, beat, tortured for hours.
Tied up
until she was found dead I think she was found dead in the creek or whatever.
Yeah, he strangled her to death.
This is horrifying. Horrifying.
And then dumped in the bayou.
Our children should not have to worry about this. Parents should not have to worry about this. I mean, this is insanity to me. I'm pissed off as a father of 2, one of which being a 14-year-old girl and a 17-year-old son. I am horrified by it. I'm outraged by it, and I'm pissed off by it. This is not acceptable, not one bit.
Strap up, America.
That deals with, that affects the southern border of the U.S. Mm-hmm. During the Biden-Harris administration, there were record numbers of illegal border crossings. Why did the Biden-Harris administration wait 3.5 years to implement sweeping asylum restrictions?
Well, first of all, the root causes work that I did as vice president, that I was asked to do by the president, has actually resulted in a number of benefits, including historic investments by American businesses in that region. The number of immigrants coming from that region has actually reduced since we began that work. But I will say this, that Joe Biden and I and our administration worked with members of the United States Congress on an immigration issue that is very significant to the American people and to our security, which is the border. And through bipartisan work, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, a bill was crafted, which we supported, which I support. And Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill.
Bullshit.
A border security bill.
What was in that bill? $3 billion sent to Ukraine. That's why the bill was killed.
$3 billion to Ukraine. We care more about Ukraine's border. We care more about other countries securing their borders than we do our own. Kamala, do you have a fence at your house? Do you have a door with a locking system? Do
The
you have an
DNC
alarm?
had 3 walls around it. The DNC had 3 walls around it.
Well, what's the point if we don't believe in borders? What's the point in
To get
locking
into
our
the
doors?
DNC, you had to show ID.
Well, they say not everybody can get an ID. I mean, these losers they make these outrageous remarks. Oh, well, IDs are racist because black people can't get IDs. Bullshit. Black people are smart. They can get IDs. They know how to use computers. You know, this race baiting BS has got to stop. It has got to stop.
Not to mention, here in Texas, a single person gets, if they have to be on food stamps, like $225. If you're an illegal immigrant, you get $3,000 in food stamps or more, and cash money on top of it on the card. So who are we really helping here?
Well, they want to help them because they want their vote. If you don't see it by now, let me lay it out in very little words. They bring them across to our country with no checks, no balance, no nothing. They give them all this money and they say, vote for us, the Democratic Party. This is all about bringing in a new voter base for the Democratic Party. This is about turning red states blue. They want to win the election every year moving forward, or every election cycle moving forward. That's all this is about. They don't care to help people in other countries. You went down to a South American country, I forget which one it was, and you said, well, I'm going to go down here because I want to get to the root cause of the border crisis. Well, you're not going to get to the root cause of the border crisis. Something like that is going to take years and years and years and years to do. You have to fundamentally change how other countries operate in order to get down to the root cause of the border crisis and why people are fleeing. And they're not just fleeing South and Central America. They're fleeing countries around the world. So you're going to have to fundamentally change how every country operates around the world if you want to make their life better and get to the root causes of it. You have not gone to the border. You have not touched the border wall. You had not gone down there and grabbed the border wall and held it in your hands and seen the flow of migrants coming across the border. You went to like El Paso or something like that once. You were interviewed by somebody before you even went to like El Paso or wherever you went. And when you did go down there, by the way, you did not go to the actual border. You just went to like El Paso, a border town. Now, before that, you were on an interview and the man asked you, well, you haven't been to the border. And she's like, well, we've been to the border. What, your
Well, I
staff's
haven't been to Europe either.
And yeah, your staff's been to the border. You hadn't. Who's been? And then your sly remark is, we hadn't been to Europe either. Yeah, you have. You've been to Europe plenty of times. What are you even talking about, you insane maniac? This is crazy, man. And who's talking about Europe? We're talking about our border. Why'd you go back and fall back on Europe? Where did that even come from? Where did you pull that out of your mind from, and why? Go to the actual border. You are the border czar. Don't tell us you're not. Your boss is Joe motherfreaking Biden. He told you you're the border czar. We all heard it. Therefore, you are the border czar, and you're not doing your job. You hadn't taken it serious. You don't care. Why? Because none of y'all care. You want these people coming across.
More.
What matters? Vodka?
Vodka matters more.
To her?
Yes.
Supported, which I support, and Donald Trump got word of this bill that would have contributed to securing our border, and because he believes that it would not have helped him politically, he told his folks in Congress, don't put it forward. He killed the bill. A border security bill that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border. And let me tell you something, the Border Patrol endorsed the bill. And I'm sure in large part because they knew they were working around the clock.
Didn't they just say not too long ago that the people in Congress don't support Trump. So how did he call anybody in Congress and say, hey, don't do this because it'll hurt me politically?
Well, I mean, wait, you had a good point that we completely skipped over. That bill had billions of dollars going to another country. Like, if when we pass bills, can we just say this bill is for the border, and everything that's in that bill has to do with the border?
Well,
this
it's like
bill
all
is
those
to send.
COVID
Hang on,
checks.
this bill is to send billions of dollars to Ukraine. That bill is just about Ukraine and the billions. Why are we packing these bills with all this other miscellaneous items? Okay, that's crazy.
I mean, that was the same way with all those COVID checks everybody got. The amount of money that was actually in the bill that they sent overseas to, I think, Afghanistan and Iraq and all those other, let's support their war over there. If they had spent all that on the American people, we would have gotten like $10,000 checks
Oh yeah.
and still had money left over.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt, dude. Good point.
And 1,500 more agents would help them. That bill would have allowed us to increase seizures of fentanyl. Ask any community in America that has been devastated by fentanyl what passing that bill would have done to address their concern and a pain that they've experienced.
So you would push that legislation again. I just want to
Not
ask
only
about
push it, I will make sure that it comes to my desk and I would sign it.
just one other question about something that you said in 2019 when you first ran. There was a debate. You raised your hand when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. Do you still believe that?
I believe there should be consequence. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced.
Oh, now we want
that
to follow
address
laws?
and deal with people who cross our border illegally, and there should be consequence. And let's
just
be
what you
clear,
said
in this
6 months
race,
ago.
You just
I'm
said
the
it
only person
illegally.
who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I would enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem.
Generally speaking, how should voters look at some of the changes that you've made, that you've explained some of here in your policy? Is it because you have more experience now and you've learned more about the information? Is it because you were running for president in a Democratic primary? And should they feel comfortable and confident that what you're saying now is going to be your policy moving forward?
Dana, I think the most important and most significant aspect of my policy perspective and decisions is my values have not changed. You mentioned the Green New Deal. I have always believed, and I have worked on it, that the climate crisis is real, that it is an urgent matter to which we should apply metrics that include holding ourselves to deadlines around time. We did that with the Inflation Reduction Act. We have set goals for the United States of America and by extension the globe around when we should meet certain standards for reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, as an example. That value has not changed. My value around what we need to do to secure our border, that value has not changed. I spent 2 terms as the Attorney General of California prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, violations of American laws regarding the illegal passage of guns, drugs, and human beings across our border. My values have not changed. So that is the reality of it. In 4 years of being vice president, I'll tell you, one of the aspects to your point is traveling the country extensively. I mean, I'm here in Georgia. I think somebody told me 17 times since I've been vice president in Georgia alone. I believe it is important to build consensus, and it is important to find a common place of understanding of where we can actually solve problems.
On that note, you had a lot of Republican speakers at the convention. Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Segment of this.
Yes, I would.
Well, she's a flip-flopping.
I mean, my values has not changed. If your values have not changed, then that means we're not going to be fracking. If your values have not changed, we're not going to criminalize crossing the border illegally.
Yeah.
If your values have changed or have not changed, we're not doing any of this BS that you're saying that you're fixing to do for the country. Because you've been there for 3.5 freaking years.
Not done a thing except destroy us.
So your values is basically
us.
You're going to put on that sickle and hammer right on your right arm. You're going to support the communists and just end up having to push the red button later. So
I hope she don't hit the red button.
Well, I hope she ain't in office.
At the convention, will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would.
Anyone in mind?
Yes, I would. No one in particular in mind. We got 68 days to go with this election, so I'm not putting the cart before the horse. But I would. I think it's really important. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
So there you have it.
I want to ask you about your opponent, Donald Trump.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised. People might be surprised to hear that you have never interacted with him, met him face to face. That's going to change soon. But what I want to ask you about is what he said last month. He suggested that you happened to turn black recently for political purposes, questioning a core part of your identity.
Yeah.
I want a blood test.
Same old tired playbook. Next question, please.
That's it?
That's it.
So you're not going to...
Let's talk about some foreign policy issues that would be on your plate if you become commander-in-chief. President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the war between Israel and...
Good.
Well, she's on a stolen ticket. He's on a stolen valor. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, you think they're really going to be honest with you?
A stolen ticket formulated by coup and stolen valor. The dude didn't even retain the rank that he calls himself. Didn't bring a weapon of war into war. I mean, I give him props for serving. I don't give him props for lying about the service that he did. Just you serving, Mr. Tim Walz. We respect you for it, and we thank you for your service.
I don't respect him, dude. I think he's a piece of garbage.
Well, he is, but regardless, I respect him for his service, but lying about it's crap.
He did not do any service. As soon as his time of service was called on, he did no service at all.
You're right.
So, as far as I'm concerned, Tim Walz could go take a
Tampon?
leap into the damn Grand Canyon.
President Biden has tried unsuccessfully to end the...
if you take all the tampons out the boys' restroom that he's installed them into and you throw them into the Grand Canyon, you could literally leap off the edge of the Grand Canyon and land safely on a pile of tampons, saving your life.
I would fact check you on that, but all this garbage that they're spewing, I'll just let it go.
Let's go.
The war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. He's been doing it for months and months, along with you. Would you do anything differently? For example, would you withhold some U.S. weapons shipments to Israel? That's what a lot of people on the progressive left want you to do.
Let me be very clear. I am unequivocal and unwavering in my commitment to Israel's defense and its ability to defend itself. And that's not going to change. But let's take a step back. October 7, 1,200 people were massacred. Many young people who were simply attending a music festival. Women were horribly raped.
Babies.
As I said then, I say today,
Babies
Israel
slaughtered.
has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And we have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha. We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the...
Let me ask you this. Does the American people really give two shits about what is going on across the sea when we are literally starving, struggling to pay our rent, struggling to make our mortgage, struggling to pay our car insurance? do we really give two shits about what these two countries that have been fighting since the dawn of time are really doing?
Well, I get your point, but I will say this, though. There are still plenty of hostages in Gaza.
She was talking about defending that we're defending Palestine, that, these people that had all these people got killed. Well,
Israel, defending Israel.
Yeah, well, she said Palestine.
Did she?
Yeah, she really did.
Hang on.
Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And
hang on.
We have got to get a deal done. We were in Doha.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so do we really care? I mean, my heart goes out to them, but until you can take care of your own people here, then we need to close the book on sending money overseas somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think what John's saying is, we care. We don't want people dying, but
I mean, yes,
there's
I care,
people here dying. There's people here. There's vets living on the streets, vets with PTSD, families who don't have enough money.
Or a rural apartment.
Yeah, families who don't have enough money to take care of their children. There's all kinds of horrible things happening here. I don't know what the solution is to the Israel-Palestine conflict. It has been going on for eons. I think before BC, it's a never-ending battle between the two of them. I think it was referenced in the Bible once. The Palestinian people and the Israelis formulate a authentic form of peace is like supposedly some big thing in the Bible when, I don't know if it's when God comes back or something like that, or somebody educate me on
I think it's
what
the
it
start
means.
of Armageddon.
Or the start of Armageddon, but it has some sort of huge significance in the Bible. But here's the thing. Israel's getting bombed over and over and over and over by Hamas. Hamas resides in Gaza, where the Palestinians live. Hamas uses the Palestinians as actual shields. So they will go to a school or a hospital or in the middle of a neighborhood, and they will launch 300 missiles at Israel. Is Israel not in the right to fire back one missile to take out the weapon system being used to fire 300 missiles at Israel? I think they have the right to stop the bombardment of missiles. Even though they have the Iron Dome, there's still missiles that get through. And thank God for the Iron Dome that Israel has. Now, do we need to be boots on the ground with Israel? No, they can handle their own, and we should not politically be in their affairs. You're 100% correct. What Israel does in retaliation to the disaster that happened when Hamas came over into Israel and kidnapped all those people and slaughtered all those people is Israel's right and duty to do as a nation. As if Canada were to do the same thing to the United States, it would be no other country out there would be able to dictate to the United States what our retaliation would be to Canada. And we need to stay out of it. And if Israel needs help in the form of money, we give it to them, or to replenish the Iron Dome weapon system, we give it to them. But Israel needs to do what Israel needs to do to keep their people safe, and any president should obviously look out for their people over ones in another land like Gaza. Now, I don't agree with the Palestinian people getting hurt, but unfortunately, by proximity of where they live and all that, that's what their life is like. And I don't know what the solution is to it, how to resolve it, and it's not up to me. It's up to Israel, it's up to the Palestinians. But first you have to eradicate Hamas. After you do that, then you can talk with the upper Palestinian, I don't even know what you would call them, the leaders of the Palestinian people, to try to really broker some sort of real deal that works for both parties, the Palestinians and the Israelis. But Right now, there's still hostages, and I think Israel should continue to pound on Hamas until all hostages are free. And then after that, they can broker a deal. They just caught one dude. I guess the Israeli soldiers were going through the tunnels, and the guards that were transporting this one soul dude by himself, they had moved him every day. He said they were moving him from tunnel to tunnel. Some days he'd be with other people. Some days just him and the guards. It was him and the guards this one day. He heard these soldiers coming down the tunnel. The guards ended up leaving. This is just days ago. The guards ended up leaving, and he actually grabbed the megaphone and was yelling back at the Israeli soldiers his name, "Don't shoot. I'm a hostage," and he kept yelling it over and over in fear that they would come down that tunnel and start opening fire, not knowing what they were getting into, and freedom. And this is like 340 days-ish that he had been in captivity by Hamas, being moved. He had lost so much weight. He had lost hope that he would ever get saved. He thought he was going to die in the tunnels. He said it was complete hell. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what the solution is, but yes, you're right.
Well, I don't really know what the solution is, but we are one of the most hated countries in the world.
And why? Because
we keep putting our nose in other people's business.
Yeah, agreed. You good?
I'm good, dude.
I agree with you, man. I agree with you, dude. It's tough. That's one thing Trump did very well. He kept our nose out of everybody's business, and I think we were more respected because of it. We went from a nation that everybody admired back in the day to a nation that everybody hated and made fun of today. And they hate us and they make fun of us.
It started with the Bushes, man.
Because we do stick our nose in everybody's affairs.
Actually, I think it started with LBJ.
We need to first take care of home, like you said. And if your house isn't even in order, then you can't start even talking to your neighbors about their affairs. Yeah,
you damn sure can't talk to other countries about their borders when you can't even control your own.
No, not at all. Let's go.
We have to get a deal done. This war must end.
In the meantime,
and we must get a deal that is about getting the hostages out. I've met with the families of the American hostages. Let's get the hostages out. Let's get the ceasefire done.
But no change in policy in terms of arms and so forth.
No, we have to get a deal done. Dana, we have to get a deal done. When you look at the significance of this to the families, to the people who are living in that region, a deal is not only the right thing to do to end this war, but will unlock so much of what must happen next. I remain committed since I've been on October 8th to what we must do to work toward a two-state solution, where Israel is secure and in equal measure the Palestinians have security and self-determination and dignity.
Israel is one of our closest allies.
Also remember, bitch, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And I think it always comes back to that. Anytime we're going to hear her speak up until the election, it's always going to come back to, you have been in office for 3.5 to 4 years now, and you've had plenty of time to turn this country around. You say Trump left it in such disarray. Well, why haven't you turned it around? If he left it so bad, then why haven't you corrected it? You've not corrected course because you set the course that we are currently on, not Trump.
3 years, almost 9 months.
That is correct. Anyways, this is J-Tech Studios. Please hit the like, the subscribe button, ring the bell, and if you would, leave us a comment below. And remember, America, our future is at stake. So please go out and vote, and we love you, each and every one of you. We're out. Peace.
Peace.